We're finding microplastics wherever we look in the human body.
We know that humanity is getting sicker. I don't know if there's a direct connection or not, but it's something I want to find out.
This is the shit that I do for science, literally.
I think everybody has microplastics in their body.
Yes.
Oh, everybody.
So like this fiber that we saw here, polyester.
And there is a look at the new documentary, Plastic People, that delves into deep and far-reaching impacts of microplastics on the planet and humanity's toxic relationships to it. Joining us now is co-director and subject of the film, I like that combination, Ziya Tong. Welcome to BT.
Oh, it's great to be with you.
Oh, I'm such a fan of your work. You've contributed in such an incredible way, but this, a bit of a different take on what we are maybe more familiar with in terms of microplastics. There's certainly that discussion, but more so with the environment, not necessarily with us as humans.
Absolutely, yeah. I heard you talking about Barbie earlier, and for us, this is essentially Barbie, the horror movie, right?
Right.
But in this instance, with our horror movie, the monster is somewhat invisible. You know, we can't see the microplastics that we're inhaling and that everybody is inhaling right now. So we needed to find a way to show people that. And I was thinking even my days at Daily Planet, when I used to cover things like oil spills, I dove under the BP oil spill. So in a way, what we want to do in this film is show people what an oil spill looks like inside of the human body. Because of course, plastic is made out of oil and gas.
Yes, and it's something that we as a society right now, inescapable. I mean, there's this need for it, but then there's also this really difficult relationship to it. Once we now have, seen the film, which I have been able to see this documentary, again, congratulations on it. What do we take from this information? What did you take from it?
Well, immediately I started looking around at my house at all the invisible plastic that surrounds us because it's camouflaged, right? Couches are plastic, paint is plastic, cigarette butts are plastic, chewing gum is plastic, your cutting board is plastic, you know, all these things. So I started looking around at the things around me and seeing what I could, unfortunately, kind of have to throw out. I'm not one of those people who likes to throw things away, but I was looking at my plastic chopping board and then realizing that a study showed that, like, you're chopping, basically chopping little microplastics into your food. My frying pan that had been cut open, essentially, and some of those toxic chemicals were leaching out, and I knew millions, and if not billions, of nanoparticles of plastic were coming out. That went in the bin as well. So there's little things that certainly we can start to change around our house, but fundamentally, we are saying in this film, this is not about the individual's fault, right? Like, I wear contact lenses. We're going to be using plastic. This is something that we need policymakers to change, and we need big corporations to change, right? Corporations like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. There's, in fact, only 5 corporations that are responsible for about 50% of the plastic that's out there.
And that's the stuff that we as the consumers don't see.
Yeah.
We don't see how monopolized everything is and how really specific those decision makers are. And sure, it's going to take pressure and it's going to cost, I'm sure, money on their part. But when we see the effect of the accumulation in our own bodies, it makes it really personal.
Yeah, and as you know, I tested my own body.
You did.
I tested my own blood. I saw other people's garbage in my blood. I tested my own feces, which was the most unglamorous thing I've ever had to do on TV.
She's certainly very beautiful, but she goes there.
It was gross.
Yeah.
But you probably saw just recently in the news, every male testicle that was tested had microplastic in it, right? I mean, if you're not worried about that, guys, I don't know what's going to convince you.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And there's sort of statement after statement of that in this documentary. You're screening it tomorrow night as part of Hot Docs?
That's right. Oh, tomorrow night is actually going to be at Royal Cinema at 6 o'clock. So I'm really excited because that is our Toronto premiere. So we would love for people to come out to see us and join us there. And we will also screen a little bit later on at Hot Docs Theatre as well.
Incredible. Well, you've been so integral in this documentary space and, really Canadians known for making incredible documentary films. What does it feel like to be a part of that community and, it's some of the trouble that they're facing right now in terms of viewership?
Yeah, well, it's sad because it's so important. We were looking at movies, you were showing Furiosa earlier, and those are the fake Save the World fake Save the World films. Documentaries are real Save the World films. They have real heroes, real stakes, and people can really be impacted and change the world with them. So it's critical that we actually protect our institutions like Hot Docs. And I know they've had a really troubling time, but I think with good new leadership, I think that they can turn things around. The foundation is strong. The house may have been on fire for a while, but they can rebuild it.
Yeah, I love that because you know that industry better than anybody, and thank you for your contribution to it. Plastic People is the name of the documentary. Again, screening tomorrow night at the Royal. If you're in town, make sure you see it. Ziya Tong, where can people follow along with you?
I'm at Ziya Tong on, I still call it Twitter. I'm not going to call it X.
Don't call it X.
Twitter.
Elon, take that. It's on
right.
Twitter. Fantastic. Thank you for your
Thank you
continued
so
good
much.
work, and thank you for being here this morning.